having a channel that focuses around trail running and ultra running, I get a lot of questions about how to prepare for ultra marathons. I've run over 20, and I just finished the Yeti 100 in September. And I get a lot of questions about how you prepare for those, like how do you mentally kind of break up not only just training, but prepping to go to toe the line. And I've definitely changed a lot over the last 10 years of running ultra marathons, from being overly prepared, almost to the point of causing panic attacks and preparing and packing stuff and trying to account for everything that can possibly happen and stressing yourself out, to more of how I think about it now, which is relaxing and understanding that you can rely on the races and what's at the tables a lot more than you think. Mile 1 of 6, 9 minutes 44 seconds. Man. And this is not to say show up to the race unprepared. This is to say, take a look at what the aid stations are going to have, because there are things that you may not need to bring. I see some absolutely crazy amount of packing and over preparing, by people showing up to these races. And it's just a lot of extra stuff to have to manage, to keep track of. And this really is dependent on the type of race. There are a lot more remote races that are expecting you to be a lot more self-sustained. And then there are other ultras that have a lot of aid stations, and you really just need a water bottle, and that's it. And there will be people that race like that. And then there'll be people who just take way too much, have too much, and it just stresses them out. One thing I noticed after many ultra marathons is I would look at my drop bags or my drop container, and it would just have everything in it. It's completely unused. And what I realized is I was relying more off very well stocked aid stations. It helped me be quicker through the aid stations, and there was really no need for me to duplicate all the work that was being done by the races. So if I could give the first piece of advice in ultras, really do some research on what the race is going to provide down to the aid station level, and really think about what you need and what you really don't need. Mile 2, 10 minutes, 48 seconds. A good amount of that uphill. Let's go. Mile 3, 10:03. The next piece of advice is one I have, over the last couple years, really been just absolutely nailing, and that is hydration and nutrition from the very beginning. One of the issues with those of us who run ultra marathons is that we're in decent shape. We can go out and run 3, 4, 5 hours without a ton of nutrition. We don't need to eat a lot to go on those long runs and things like that. So we take that type of mentality into the beginning of a race, and you'll find yourself running 3, 4, 5 hours of an ultra thinking, I feel fantastic, I don't really need anything because I don't really train that way. And then come to find out, when you start hitting mile 10 through 13 or somewhere around there, you start to bonk. And then now you're already behind the 8 ball. You're already way behind. And then you're going to be on the struggle bus for quite a while. And I've learned that lesson. So over the last couple of years, and then the Yeti 100 the last 2 years, I've absolutely nailed that. I forced myself, no matter how I felt, even if it felt great, to take in calories, 200 or 300 calories, about every 45 minutes, religiously. I used to always have really low spots around mile 38 or so. None of that. This past time was absolutely nailed. Taking on this strategy the last 2 years in the Yeti 100 has really helped me kind of be proud of the performance and how I felt later in the race. I mean, this last Yeti 100 and this past September, I felt so strong. I literally could have ran in the last probably 15 miles. And one of the keys to that too was I kind of held off on caffeine until about mile 85 and took a 5-hour energy, and it did wonders. I tell you, kind of limiting the caffeine until you absolutely need it is key also. That's a bonus tip. All right, 4 miles, 10 minutes, 30 seconds. Starting to get dark. Last tip, which is another kind of common sense thing, but ultra marathoners and marathoners have a tendency to forget this on race day. Stick with your pacing plan, but make sure you have an honest, realistic pacing plan, because what I see most of is people overestimating their fitness. I don't know if it's an ego thing, because what I preach on this channel, no one cares. Really, no one cares. Unless you're an elite winning these races, nobody really cares how fast you run these things. If you tell somebody you ran 100 miles, even as an ultra runner, I don't care what you finished in, not even a little bit, because I know the effort, the training, and the type of person you are to even be able to finish one. But what I see is people take off, you know, and they run the first 10 or 15 like it's a half marathon or a marathon, and then the wheels absolutely come off and they blow up, and then they're on the struggle bus for 40, 50, 60, 70 miles. There's no need for that. If you are just honest with yourself and stick to your run, walk, run, power, hike plan from the very beginning, and don't try to do more than your fitness is capable of. Is this to say never to push it? Absolutely not. But it's to say be smart. If you're somebody that's trained to run a 27-hour ultra 100 miler, you're not gonna break 24 hours. It's just probably not gonna happen. So why are you gonna blow up your race and possibly DNF trying to do that? Mile 5, 11:19. 1 mile to go. Uphill. All of it's uphill. All right, 6 miles, 1 hour, 3 minutes, 50 seconds for an average of 10:37 a mile. And that's while filming. Pretty happy with that training session. Hell yeah, let's go. Get on it, get out there, get running, folks. Let's do it.